And we're back. In this last video of the chapter, we're going to talk about something that actually wasn't part of those new assets that we imported, but it's actually kind of a very worthwhile thing for making the scene look, real and believable and whatnot. One thing about computer-generated scenery is it tends to lack a lot of the little subtle clues that are present in reality that let you know that, well, this is computer generated. One of these things that the computers don't and haven't in the past done all that well has to do with atmospheric effects. And what I mean by that is, if you live in an area where you can look at some distant mountains, you'll notice that, well, they don't quite have the sharpness, the detail, they don't have the color saturation that things that are closer to you have. And that's because of the atmosphere, the little bits of water vapor and dust particles and whatnot that just sort of obscure that and make things in the background look less sharp. Now, if you live in a coastal area that gets fog, this effect can be much more pronounced. Now, this is something that's been kind of difficult to be generated in real time, especially in a game engine, but Unity, it does have ways to do this, and they're not that difficult. We're going to go through some of them. There's some limitations and some considerations you have to take into account, but as you'll see, it's really pretty easy to get some worthwhile and quite interesting and realistic looking effects. So let's get to that. Okay, so we're going to select our camera here. We're going to move it away from the rock just a touch. Well, there we go. We want to be able to see the mountain in the background, get kind of a depth here. So let me rotate this around. So we want to see foreground and some background so that we've got different distances. Raise it up just a touch. Okay. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So first thing we'll talk about is these clipping planes here. Now that's not particularly fog, but that's just to make sure that you can see everything that's in the background. Clipping planes will let you take things that are in the distance and get rid of them so that they're not taking up some rendering cycles when maybe you really can't see those things in the distance. So that's that. Now we're ready to talk about fog. Okay, so to see our fog effects, we're going to go to Edit, Render Settings. And if you look up here, there's a checkbox. We check, and there we can see some fog. And we have fog density. We can just knock this down. You can see you really need small numbers here. So let's see, 0.03, still pretty heavy, 0.02, 0.01, still very heavy, 0.005, 0.0025, 125. Now we're finally starting to get there. Now we've got these different fog modes. We're in exponential 2, there's exponential 1, here's linear. Now, linear is not the greatest by itself, but it does give you these linear fog start and ending parameters. That says, okay, so no fog will happen before 100 units, and then it will go to full effect at 1,000, 3,000, whatever numbers you want to put in here, 1,500, so you can kind of dial it in. And we're starting actually to get some reasonable looking effect. And that's, you just want to play around with it. We can change the fog color here and just give it a little, like a yellow effect, like maybe there's some sort of volcano in the distance that's erupting, or maybe you're even on another planet that has a different sun color. And just change these to increase or decrease the effect. And just now when you go to something other than linear, then your start and end doesn't matter. We'll change the color, and now we're starting to get somewhere. This is kind of a real misty morning kind of look that you've got. You can knock this down or leave it the way it is. this is just going to be your mood effect as to what you think you want in this. Now, that's looking not bad. Again, it's a certain effect. You might want a different effect. But one thing I wanted to point out is that if you look beyond the volcano, you'll notice that the fog effects have no effect on the sky. Sky still shows it's a real bright, sunny, middle of the day. So that's probably not exactly what you want, given the amount of mistiness and fog that you've put in the scene. So you probably want to change to one of those different sky effects, different sky boxes that's not quite so bright and sunny. And you can go in there and do that, and overall start to come up with something that really looks believable. But we'll leave that for you to play with and work with. And I think you've seen in this chapter that the tools that you can get through Unity's free version, you can actually build some sort of a world that's not bad. That for a free software engine, it's actually amazing what you can do. So that's it. Experiment. That's the way you get good at this. And we'll see you in the next chapter.